Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Geek Out and Speak Out. My name is Geeks. So just to put a little bow on my last video, it was originally only supposed to be a short video about the announcement of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which I proceeded to talk about for about 7 minutes in one take. I apologise for that. I did gush a little bit too much, but this is what happens when you're a fanboy like me. So with that being said, let's move on to what I'm going to be talking about today, and that's going to be talking about Evil Dead Rise. Now, Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead, the franchise, I'm a huge fan of. It's a wonderful horror series, created by Sam Raimi, and it's about Ash Williams fighting zombies essentially, and demons and monsters and stuff. And there's been there's been Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. There's been Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which is a series that continues on from the Evil Dead movies. Then there's been the Evil Dead reboot, and now there's been Evil Dead Rise. I love all of these. Ash vs. the Evil Dead was a great series, hysterical. You cannot go wrong with Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams. And then they did the reboot, which was all right. Which I didn't exactly blow my skirt up about, and it was a fairly good retelling and reimagining of the original Evil Dead film. And then come Evil Dead Rise. Again, for the sake of transparency, I was skeptical because it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I didn't really know or even want another Evil Dead film. Didn't even know I wanted one. And when I started seeing that it was being set in a high-rise building and it was being taken out of the woods, which is all the other movies, not the series, but all the other movies have been set in this kind of almost all of them anyway. I tell a lie, Army of Darkness set in anyway. But the traditional setting for these movies is going to be a cabin in the woods, and this is being set in a high-rise block of apartments, flats, whatever. In a city, and I was a bit skeptical. How could this work? But yeah, so I thought I'd give it a try anyway. So I dragged myself to the cinema. Oh, what a trauma that is. Not really. It's one of my favourite places to go, to be honest. And I sat through the film, and what I found was I was delighted, absolutely delighted by what I saw. And it opens in the traditional setting in a cabin in the woods, and there's a very, very violent opening scene, and then it cuts to then the rest of the film is set in this apartment block, and what proceeds is about an hour and a half of a loving homage to what came before, but it is just gory, it is graphic, it is hilariously gruesome, and it's a testament to just how you can still make these films and make them watchable as well. There's been a lot of zombie films and films of the similar ilk, and they're all right, but it takes a lot to imagine a scenario and to put together a movie which actually makes it feel original and fresh. And that's what this film did. It made the Evil Dead series seem like it's relevant again, because the whole cabin in the woods thing has been done to death, and which is one of the reasons why I was really skeptical. But again, like I've said in the previous video, is I like to be proven wrong. My skepticism was completely blown away by the performances, and the main villain is actually a mother, and the victims are her children and her sister that are kind of trying to keep her out of the apartment while she's trying to come in and eat them. I can't talk too much about it, the violence in this film, because this is supposed to be a video for everyone to watch. But it is violent, it's supremely graphic. There's the whole cheese grater sequence, which, if you know, which I shan't delve into the details, but it is just gorily graphic, and I loved it. I thought it was a great film. And yeah, and you just can't go wrong with this film. It's a bit of a slow start, and there's a, again, story and plot wise isn't great. There are some really good family dynamics, which is obviously what the point of the film is. It's the dynamics between the mother and the kids and the auntie and the nephews and nieces and all these other things, the whole family dynamic thing. But what it boils down to, what people really, really wanted to see was creative kills, gory monsters, and just carnage. And the film does deliver on all of those. And yeah, it's a film that I will keep in my repertoire, and it's one of my go-tos. Just if I want to watch a mindless gore fest. But don't get me wrong, it's not hysterical in like the Deadpool sense, like I spoke in one of my previous videos. It can be very intense. There are some legitimately scary. Oh, sorry, the dog's barking again. There are some legitimately scary moments in there, but if you know Sam Raimi's work, and this is a love letter to Sam Raimi's work, there is a very, very dark humor underlying a lot of what he does. And Evil Dead Rise, even though it's not directed by Sam Raimi, it certainly does hold up against his work. And you can tell that the creators and the director, Lee Cronin, you could tell he was a big fan of the Evil Dead movies. So it's a great modern version of the Evil Dead. I can't encourage you enough to go and watch this film if you haven't already watched it, or if you're on the fence about it. I'd go and watch it. It is a great film. Good horror film. Again, it's not one. It's not like the War and Peace of horror films, not at all. But it's very intense. There are some very intense sequences. It's very gory, so much blood, creative kills. And characters that you root for, but you also want to see how badly they're going to get killed. On the whole, it is a good, fun, if you think that's kind of a fun thing, good, fun film to watch, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. I can't really say. Only thing that might let it down, is just like the end sequence. How it all ends is a little bit, but I'm not going to spoil it for you because, the dog's barking again. I'm going to strangle that dog. I promise I won't, but, the ending isn't particularly great. No spoilers, but, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Again, I'm scoring these all pretty big, these last, movies and stuff, but, again, I love this movie. I'm going to try and find one that maybe not love so much, because it's a bit of a love fest whenever I do these videos, but definitely a 9 out of 10 because just entertainment value, and knowing what I know about the Evil Dead franchise, I loved it. I think it's great, and I'd highly recommend anyone else watching it. So there you go, that's another video done. Thank you for watching. I will be coming up with some ideas about what to do next. I've got a sneaking, you know what, I'm going to tell you this time. I'm not just going to tease you with it. I'm going to tell you outright what my next video is going to be. And my next video is going to be, again, one I absolutely love. And I'm going to talk about Logan. Yep. Even though Hugh Jackman's coming back to the franchise, coming back to the character, I'm going to talk about his final performance. Final, with little bunny ears. Final performance as Wolverine. But obviously this is all going to drop before Deadpool 3, so for the time being we'll call it his final performance as Wolverine. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in my next video, which hopefully I'll be doing very soon. Well, but thank you for watching, and please tune in for my next episode on Logan. Thank you very much, and see you soon.